And we are live. Good evening, sir. How is everything on the West Coast? Is it falling apart as fast as it is on the East Coast?
Dude, people can't drive, bro. That's all I got to say about today.
People can't drive. Tell me about your experiences.
Oh my god. Okay, so over the last few, I don't even know months, like just pulling out of my place to go to work, people have been just like giving me the finger when they do the wrong thing, and people are uptight, man. They're merging into the wrong lane and giving me the finger because I'm there. I guess I don't know. Like, dude, it's not. People are just really not polite these days.
Well, do you think? I have a theory on this, and I have a feeling that you'll agree. Do you think people are just like on edge? We've had all just years of bad news at this point, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. It just seems to be getting worse and worse. And I wonder if society as a whole is not getting worn down. I'll admit, and I know YouTube's not my therapist, but in general, I don't think I'm depressed, but I'm like there's a funk just over the air, and sometimes I'm sitting here and I could do something productive, but I'm like, nope, not gonna do it, and I'll just choose to kind of not veg out, but just anything to shut my brain off from all of the goings on, because it just seems to pile up so much.
Oh yeah, dude. And I made the mistake of like watching the news today. By the way, Silver Cigars, Frostbite, Coins and Collectibles. What's up, you two fart nuggets? Don't ask. Donna S. Welcome in, everybody. I made the mistake of watching the local news, and well, it's good. Man,
You need a drink,
dude.
You want me to buy you a case of Bud Light?
Oh, Dylan. Oh, Dylan. No, I'm good. And you can keep the Jack Daniels in your Nikes too. It's too much for my blood anyway. And Jack Daniels is horrible.
What did Nike do?
Nike sponsored him with some leggings ad for women. I mean, what speaks to women like a man wearing leggings? If I'm a chick buying leggings, I want to see chicks in leggings. That's what Nike did. You didn't know that?
No, I don't follow. Unless it gets thrust in front of me, I don't see anything.
Oh, he does some thrusting in the dancing. It makes me happy I wear cheap Avias from Walmart.com. Just saying. Anyway, I made the mistake of watching the local news today, dude, and Lake Oswego school district, which is not far from me. I guess someone showed up for career day, and I get it. I manage children, and a lot of times it's you just want to choke them out. But the person that was doing career day like slapped one of the students. I guess so. That's
wait.
Things are weird, dude.
So, like, outside person, not an administrator, somebody they brought into the school, smacked a student.
I think it was an outside person. That's what it sounds like. But, man, it's just, I had some lady give me the finger today because she turned into the wrong lane, and I knew she was going to do it. I projected her stupidity, which you have to do. A, when it comes to investing and hedging, and B, when you're just going through daily life, going down the road, you have to do that. And we never even came remotely close to a physical accident. Yep, still got the finger because I was there, and that's where she wanted to be. Roadhog, good morning or good afternoon, evening. Excuse me, don't ask. What up? Yeah, but it sounds like it was an outside career day person that just smacked the stupid out of it.
Well, that's assaulting a minor. That's way out of scope. Like, I'm sure that's a felony charge of some nature. Even if it is just like a BS slap, you can't go around hitting kids, especially if they're not your own. Nowadays, I think it's arguable that you can't hit your kids in the wrong instance. Even my son, he watches too much YouTube and stuff. He thinks it's great that his dad is a YouTuber, and that's great, and I don't mind it. But he said something to me like, I don't know, we're playing around like we always do. And I said something about I was going to beat him up or something. And he's like, you can't do that. That's child abuse. And I'm like, no, no, you've been taught wrong. Like, yes, if they, if they find out and if you're actually harmed, yes, but there's a limit. And trust me, I think I know the limit. So yeah, like he hears this stuff and
What if he's
kids
watching it and I'm the sixth like? Come on, all y'all, hit that thumbs up. Let's go. Support your
projected
boys.
her stupidity classic. Hello, Roadhog. Your package is in the mail. Silver cigars, yours as well. Siren, if
Silver
she
Scars,
finds her way in here.
yours might show up. It might not at this point. Who knows?
Hey, I finally got mine. I finally got mine. That was almost 2 weeks, I think.
Dude, ridiculous. Now, are you on the west or the east end of the state?
I am on the west side of the state.
So that means Silver and Cigars is further east of you then, right?
Yeah. Cleveland's like over by Pennsylvania and up by
Oh,
Lake Erie.
all right, cool. He'll have it in like a week or 10. Oh, Tim Harris. So Tim Harris, check it out. Welcome in, brother. Tim Harris is a cool dude that found me from Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, right, Tim? So thanks for popping in, brother. Appreciate it. Good to have you, man. So you called yourself a YouTuber. See, I can't even call myself that yet because according to the algorithm too. I mean, that's accurate because
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. It's less than 10% of YouTube channels, period, that are created become monetized. So you're already in the top percentile of YouTube channels ever. So don't cut yourself short. Give yourself a little more credit. Most people don't even get to where you're at. And you're not even done yet. You're just getting started. So
I guess I was wrong. Tim found me from YouTube. I don't know why it feels like. I mean,
your original channel, he said.
Original to your channel. I'm old. I forget things, but whatever. Things run all together. I guess if you look at my analytics, I wouldn't say I'm getting paid. I'm not really I'm monetized, but it's not much. But
yeah, it's a rolling.
I can't call myself a YouTuber because I don't know. I'm going to say about myself what Savage said about himself. If I was just viewing, if I didn't have a channel, I wouldn't sub to me.
Well, okay, so here's a theory I have. It's like I like to think, like I'll watch just about anybody's videos, but I'd like to think the people whose videos like I watch over, I try to keep up with their channels and things. I like to think, judging by their personality and the opinions and things that they express, that we'd probably be friends in real life. You know what I mean? Assuming, distances and things weren't a barrier. That's kind of how I go about it. And so for that reason, there's anybody can start a channel. You just have to find your audience. And hopefully you have a good topic of conversation for whatever you're doing your channel on. But I think really it's like cable access, right? But for everyone. Remember that way back in the 80s?
Wayne's World. That's what comes to mind.
Yeah. Well, and quite literally, it's cable access for anyone. It's a little more polished now, but that's essentially what it is. And I don't know, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's not too bad. And I think there's a good community. I think, even on our side, I don't get a lot of bad comments. I get a lot of thoughtful comments, maybe contrary arguments to some of the things I say at times, but I don't get anyone that really comes in like trying to trash me or, just kind of troll or whatever those people do nowadays. Like it's even the bad comments are insightful. So I think we just have a really good group of people in general in the stacking community. And so you almost can't go wrong. Some channels do better than others. Why that is anybody's guess, I think. But I think we're all right.
Is right. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Frostbite is right. Define a YouTuber: a person who uploads, produces, or appears in videos on the video sharing website YouTube. And you're right. I would call you a YouTuber, but I won't call myself one yet. Luigi, welcome in. Albie, what up? Let's see, who was it? Constitutional is a patriot. Yes, I am, definitely. And I don't like the way things are headed, man. I'm very concerned.
Well, so what did you think about my comment? Do you think people are like slowly? I mean, they've always been losing their shit a little, but are people losing it more so now? I
Absolutely.
think they are.
Absolutely. And I honestly, I think, I'm going to be honest with you. I think, and I don't think that this pertains to the crowd in here per se, because if you're here, obviously, what up, Mello? Obviously, you're smarter than a lot of people in the finance realm because you understand something's broken. But I think a lot of people are losing their ass, especially in their retirement accounts, and they don't know why. So they're pissed off. But they're too lazy to do the research and learn about it, and they're too lazy to change it, and they're too lazy to do what needs to be done to be like, okay, something's not working. What do you know? I need to learn what I don't know about what I don't know, and people don't do that. So I think they're pissed off, and they see there's a problem, but they don't know what it is or how to fix it.
Well, yeah, and I think I found out. This was a while back with my last company. The guy that was like our 401k advisor or whatever, like he seemed douchey and whatever, but he seemed, I guess, decent at his job. Enough to kind of like, I sat down with him one time and I'm like, realized quickly, and I didn't know much about finance at the time, that he was just kind of generally throwing stuff at the wall, like, oh, you got time, this is what you're going to do. Oh, you're short on time, this way. Like, it's a real basic kind of algorithm that they try to apply to things. And he left, and then like a new young guy came in, and like we had a better rapport, and I got to sit down with him one day, and I was kind of just messing around, and I found out what he made as far as like base, and then he got some, I don't even want to say commissions, but he got like some kind of thing for like, the more he could get people to invest outside of like normal contributions, or if he got somebody to up their there was some small kickback or, reward there for him, but he didn't make hardly anything. And I'm looking, and so like I'm wrapping my head around it. Here's this guy, right? And he didn't just do our place. He did, I don't know how big his region was, but tons of companies for them in an area. And this dude didn't make at the time like probably 35,000. And that's not to belittle him. I'm saying your job is supposed to be so important for everybody's future that you're helping them choose investments, and your base pay is a few ticks above, what most people would consider just making it. And I get he's young and he's starting out and he's not exactly like a hedge fund manager or anything, but it goes back time and time again that there are these really important jobs that nobody is willing to pay well for. Teachers, with all the, I mean, they didn't get paid enough before all the, problems, we'll say politely, in the modern school system. So they sure as hell aren't getting paid enough now. I mean, you couldn't pay me to be a teacher in today's climate. There's just no way. I don't understand how anybody deals with it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's weird. We value all the wrong things.
I'm glad you brought that up about financial advisors, because there's two ways that I see that, right? Big Flip, welcome in, dude. How you doing, man? Hope your back's okay. Over journey. I hope you're getting through that pain that you talked about. I know exactly what you're going through. There's two things, and we all say we're not financial advisors pretty much because we have to, because we don't want you to do something stupid and sue us, right. Obviously. But Mike Maloney, Hidden Secrets of Money, episode 1, he talks about how his mother, this is how he got onto the and yes, sometimes he pumps. I don't like that, but that's not the point. Like, he's very knowledgeable in a lot of ways. And he talks about how his mother had a financial advisor, and don't quote me on the numbers. I'm just going to throw these out there. But he talked about how he learned about the bullion markets because he had a financial advisor for his mother, and he comes in. He's like, "Hey, I got great news, right? The market lost 20%. You only lost 10." And he's like, "I fired him." And the point behind that is, yes, they should be making sure that people that are advising people financially, are paid a good salary. However, nobody cares more about your money and your well-being than you do.
Right.
So to me, it's one of those. You know how many people I've talked to at work over the years? They're like, "Oh, I'm investing with Edward Jones. I got an investment, person, a financial advisor." I'm like, "Oh, what are you invested in?" "I don't know."
Yeah.
Don't know. Like,
Yeah.
that is the epitome of lazy to me. And it's like, you can't count on anyone to care more about your bottom line, than you. Your doctor, okay? Your doctor doesn't get paid unless you have a really good one to keep you out of his or her office. They put a band-aid on and keep you coming back. Like, you have to do your own due diligence and learn what is good for my body, what is good for my, what should I eat, mobility wise, supplement wise, what should I supplement my finances with. Nobody is responsible for that except for you. And I think a lot of people miss that message, personally.
Yeah, people we've outsourced so much at this point. I mean, heck, like I mean, I hate to say it, and this sounds bad as a parent, but to a degree, we outsource our education. Like I know what my daughter's learning from some of her homework and stuff, but do I know everything that goes on in those classrooms? No. Do I know the exact curriculum that they're teaching? No. I know their math is Common Core. Don't get me started on that. I've gotten talks from the teachers about how I teach her to do math. And so, like, we'll bring homework home and I'll teach, I'll be teaching her how to work on it and, my way. And then come to find out, she'll get like partial credit when she goes in the next day because she didn't show her work the way that they want her to or whatever. And I'm like, she
Dude,
got
do
the
you
right answer.
do you remember when they were teaching kids at home online during the thing we all know about, and the teachers were super mad because some of the parents were watching the curriculum that was being taught to their
Oh,
children.
yeah,
Why the
yeah,
hell shouldn't they? Like,
yeah.
hello.
The parents were like really paying attention to what they're saying in the classes and things. Like, yeah, didn't they? I think they even stated, at least in some form or fashion, in some places, like kids should be alone in a room without other people and distractions or whatever. And that's all well and good, but like, you want me to have my kids sit in their room for 6, 7 hours a day or however long it was they were doing these things and just, no, I'm gonna go in and check and see how she's doing or whatever. It's a very weird time. There's actually one school district in Ohio, um south of me, I think, that for whatever reason decided they're gonna go to a 4-day school week and that
Huh.
Fridays are like a basically like a teacher day, a day for teachers to plan class curriculum and whatever else, um, without students. And students will online learn at home on the fifth day. I really hope they don't adopt that in any kind of major scale because it's hard enough. It was impossible during the event, we'll call it, um, to find childcare. Like it was nuts, and if you could find it, it was crazy expensive. The good news is a lot of people didn't need it, but some of us were still working quite often, so it was a mess. And yeah, I don't think that situation's gotten a whole lot better. So if they tried to cut to a 4-day work week, that would be hard for a lot of parents out there.
Oh man, it just it just it blows my mind that we are at a point in society and humanity now where the teachers are saying, we don't want you looking at what we're teaching your children. We don't want you involved. I remember back when I was in school, if I did something stupid, or even if I did something good, they involved my parents, as
Mhm.
any good role model should. And the fact that this doesn't speak to more people and concern them, hey, they don't want me knowing what they're teaching my kid. I should be concerned. Like, I don't have kids, Matt, but like, if people are teaching your kids something, I want to know what they're teaching your kids, because if you don't know, I want to be able to tell you, hey, dude, this is what they're telling your kids, just so you know. Like,
Mm.
it's accountability, and we lack that so much now in this world, and that's
Yeah,
why we are in the situation we are, and it's gross.
there's
The adults are no longer the role models, and it really irritates me. It pisses me off. Something is broken.
the schools. There's an app now that at least the ones here by me use this app, and it's like a commercial app. Like you can buy a membership and do all this stuff. I don't obviously do that, but that's how you communicate primarily, it seems, with the teachers. So they'll give you some reports on how your kid's doing in class, but I don't check that app like all the time. I did find out, um, by looking at it and talking with my daughter at one point that, she had a couple of instances of, trouble or, bad marks or whatever. And so her and I had a discussion on that, and I leveled with her. I don't have the time to open that app every single day and get your progress report. Like, you need to come to me and tell me what happened that day. If you got in trouble, tell me and we'll talk about it, you know. But I don't have the time to open that app and every other app that everybody wants. There's an app for my car, there's an app for my car insurance, there's an app for YouTube, everything, like social media, just like everybody. It's like subscription services. Like, I like the phones, I like all the things that they bring us, but everything has an app, everything has a login, everything has a password. It's too much, to the point to where now there's an app or a service that tries to keep track of all your passwords, and you can pay for that, and it keeps all your passwords safe in one place. And I mean, that's where we've gotten to. We can't remember phone numbers now, and we used to know passwords and things, and now you can't even remember the passwords because they're getting so complex. It's ridiculous.
That whole teacher student app thing. There have been. I understand the convenience of it, but with convenience comes so many problems. There have been a lot of issues with that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what was her name? Oh God, it was in Arizona. Oh, Brittany Zamora. Do you remember that name?
Oh, the teacher that was the students and all that.
Yeah, one of many, and that's how it started. It started in that app, and I'm not saying every teacher is going to do that, obviously, but this seems to be a trend growing now where teachers are having those relationships with students. And number one, I mean, when I was a young kid in school, I'm like, oh, she was hot. You're right, Silver and Cigars. I'll tell you a story about her later. That's every high school boy's dream, but that shouldn't be intertwined with school. And I remember, back in the day, like, you didn't have your teacher's phone numbers.
Mm-mm.
You didn't get to see them out of office hours. There was no texting via apps. Like, I understand the convenience of it, but it's kind of like humans were stupid, right? We're going to build the Terminator that's going to kill us, and we're slowly doing this with technology. We're killing ourselves in different ways, and I feel like people are just missing that.
Yeah, I mean, and Don't Ask has a good point. The apps for doctors. I mean, I know there's a portal. I don't think I've logged on to the darn thing. I'm sure it's on there, but you can get like test results and things. But you got to remember, and like what he's saying, it's kind of a violation of rights. That stuff's stored on a database somewhere. And I assure you, someone that's not supposed to have access to it probably has access, even if it's just for data validation, to make sure that the server storing things correctly without errors. They have to go in there and look. And, it's just sometimes too much information is a bad thing. Just like the market. I just pulled up Kitco, and I know everyone's been talking. Everything's on fire right now, it just seems. And I pulled up Kitco just to kind of look at the news, and just in the last day, I'm looking at probably 50 or more different latest news articles. I mean, it's just everywhere. And not all of it's specifically metals. Like, apparently Bitcoin's price rose up. It's just under 30K for the first time since like January 2022. So that's up. But basically anything but the dollar is up. And there was a slight pullback in metals today. It's not even measurable to me. My camera's in the way. We're at 1991. I'm showing on my platform for gold, and silver is showing at 2488. I don't count that as really any kind of fallback. Now, if it drops back down to like 2350, okay, we'll talk. If it drops back down to like, 1850, yeah, okay, we'll talk. We're slipping. But this is just the normal bounce where we're trying to find a new plateau to sit at for a while until more news hits.
I hope Silver Cigars is okay. He's probably laughing his ass off right now. I sent him a text.
Yes. Well, Skynet's coming. Like the last one. Well, I won't say the last. One of the last Terminator movies. They joked about it. It was the one where I think Arnold was still in it, and they did they did like the time jump thing, and I don't know, something changed, and basically Skynet was something different, and basically it was going to be like an integration thing between your computer and your phone and your tablet, and everything was going to be one seamless thing, and then somehow that thing was supposed to be Skynet. And
well, he could have just solved it by saying "screw your freedoms." I mean, that's the answer. I got nothing for that guy after he said that. I'm done with that guy.
So let's talk metal though. What have you picked up in like say the last week or two?
I just got this 10-ounce bar today.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
In the picture, that looks old,
vintage like me. Yeah. Old.
What's it say on it?
International Trade Unit. 10 troy ounces, 999 fine silver. You guys ever seen one like that before?
It's got a crown on it. Is that a crown?
Yeah, it is actually.
That's weird. I've not seen that one.
I haven't either. But anybody ever seen that before? So, what do you think of this Taiwan thing, dude?
Taiwan. I don't even. I'm not following. What happened? Tell because if you're bringing it up, something happened, and I've heard like rumors. I heard that China was upping like their military exercises in the South China Sea, but that's been, I think, the case for like the last year and a half, 2 years. So
hold on. Don't ask. Why do you say it's fake? You talking about Taiwan or my bar?
Well, where'd you get the bar? Did you get it at some back alley Facebook marketplace thing?
Well, yeah. No, I went to Harry's.
Oh, well, if you got it from Harry, then you're fine. They got a Sigma, right?
Yeah, but the B team was running the shop. So God, I hope they're not watching this. It's not that. Harry wasn't there, so they had a couple people in there, and so it was yeah, I saw the clown face. All right, I get it. So they were like, I would have thrown it on the Sigma because I don't know. I've just never seen it before. It checked all. It passed all my tests, but whatever, dude. I'm just.
It looks like it's toned up.
Yeah, well, so am I, and I'm authentic, so right. I mean, no, it's very toned.
Well, yeah, I think you're probably safe. It's anything that's old, it seems like they try to counterfeit the more recent stuff. I see a lot of fake, like Eagles, sometimes Morgans, usually the higher dollar ones, and then like bars and things they like because they're usually kind of simple. Oh wait, with the back on that like that looks like Silvertown.
I'm kind of wondering that myself. Taiwan. Okay, let's get back to Taiwan. So
what happened?
Well, here's the deal, right? So China keeps moving closer into Taiwan via warships. I think there were 11 battleships spotted in the area today, like 70 jets or something. Now, of course, they're saying, well, this used to be our land. We want it back. You know what it is? You know what it really is? It's a
But
lie. If you go and look, because I looked, because I had a suspicion, if you go and look, you will notice that over the last few years, increasingly as time goes on, we're doing more buying of they're doing more exporting to us than every year before that. So China's sitting there saying we want more money and we're losing money to Taiwan and we're a bigger country. Let's take them over. That's what it is. But they'll never come out and say it's like every other war. It's about control of money. Always control money, oil, whatever. It's all about money. And something else that I've noticed: anytime there's conflict, there's usually a major change in currency. Well, what is China doing right now? They're trying to enter BRICS. They're trying to get the gold back thing or the gold backed currency with BRICS. Every time there's a major shift in currency, there's a war. There's conflict. It's always about the same crap. It's always about money. But they can't say that. They don't want to spin it that way. So, oh, we just want our land back. No, that's not what it is. I really don't believe that for a second. I think that they want the trade dollars, and I think they want the control.
well, so I'm looking here, and again, like regardless of how you feel about the situation, we got to poke our nose into it. So I just pulled up something.
What Albie just said, I think he's right.
What do you say?
Look at the
Taiwan
chips.
has the
Yep.
chips. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Issue.
Chips
That's another huge issue.
have
Absolutely.
been huge for the last couple of years, and the stocks are going through the roof, and probably are going to continue to. So yeah, they want to take ownership of those assets, even if it is by proxy. But I'm looking at this article, and it says it's obviously it sounds like your claim is correct that they put a whole bunch of show of force in the South China Sea, and of course a U.S. Navy destroyer had to go. What's the quote on this? I want to get this correct. USS Millis, um, guided missile destroyer, conducted freedom of navigation operations through the South China Sea near, all of this hubbub that they're going on about. And so I get it. Like, we got to kind of like push the envelope and test them a little bit, but one of these days it's going to come to blows or something's going to happen. And I think we're just playing like house until then. And one of these days it's going to get real because we're obviously saying we're not going to let it go. Every time they exercise or do drills or anything like that over there in the South China Sea, we are right over there to poke our nose in, which is whatever. I'm not arguing that, but I don't know. Sometimes it's like we go looking for trouble.
Oh, we're bullies.
The idea of like, can we get America fixed and then worry about other things, secondary? I think that whole idea with the U.S. is gone now. It's almost like we care more about the global system than we do what's going on at home. It seems like
absolutely. And we have look at our presence in Iran right now. Okay, look at our presence of threat. To assist Taiwan. Our interest as a country is protecting trade in our U.S. dollar because we realize that we don't know what flavor ice cream we're eating at the moment, but we realize that our dollar is at risk for being used as trade. So
yeah, we are probably a couple months away from the dollar being depegged, I think, as the world reserve currency, if things don't change. But you know what could fix all that?
A better president?
No. Well, no, probably not, unfortunately.
Couldn't hurt.
What could fix all that real quick? Another conflict. Drum up another reason to, even if it's Cold War 2.0, like just the drill up is enough to, start the war machine, stimulate the economy.
Yep.
I mean, what did they say? What was it? Wasn't it Bush? Yeah, I guess it was. I'm an idiot. But like, wasn't it like the day after 9/11 or something? He had like a He was doing a talk. I think it might have even been at Ground Zero, and he's telling people to go out shopping.
Yeah. Well, see, and
Like,
here's the problem with war and economy, right? Like people get this wrong a lot. War only stimulates your economy if you're not in it. If you're supplying to the countries that are in it, munitions, supplies, then it's great for your economy. But when you're in it, it's devastating to the economy. But this one could be different. See, this might be why we're over in Iran and we're saying, oh, there might be conflict in Iran because we don't want Saudi to be comfortable with Iran because they fear Iran and they're afraid that they're going to invade them, and we have to protect them because they sell their oil in dollars and our dollars. So if we create a false flag, oh, there's going to be conflict in Iran. Saudi may not want to get out, depeg the dollar in the petro end of things because they don't want to be sitting there holding the bag and have no protection. So this could be very different because now it's to our economic benefit to protect the trade dollar, which happens to be the USD. So I think we're going to be doing a whole lot of shady things that we shouldn't be doing, or at
well,
least
yeah, and then
fear out there.
and who's putting a target on their backs? Like the Saudis agreeing to trade oil in something other than the dollar, and they're deep in the American government, right? They were famously great friends with the Bushes, and I'm sure subsequent presidents have had what we'll call good relations with them. Um, for them to kind of not turn their backs, but to kind of snub us in that way, it shows a shift. And people on a whole, the general public and people that don't really, I guess, follow these things probably don't see that as that big of a deal. But I think outside of us, don't they have like the largest reserve of oil in the world? It's like Saudi, and then I think we're holding on to Alaska, right? Isn't Alaska like number two, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken?
we got Alaska, we got Texas. Texas has a lot of oil too.
Texas, well, a lot, but no, I don't think that much left. I don't think it ranks high up there on like reserve stockpiles because we have sucked from that for a while, like especially at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. We
Well,
pulled a
and then
lot of Texas.
numbnuts, he sold almost $1 million of our reserve barrels to a China-owned company not too long ago too. So that didn't help. Oh, Mello comes through with the information on my bar. Sweet. I feel better about it.
California Crown Mint made in the early. Oh, you got, and this is something too, stackers. And I didn't realize this until a while back. I listened to a podcast all about vintage bars, and there was some expert on there. Now, obviously, the market, I'm sure, changes and fluctuates just like anything, but apparently, there are some people that literally just collect vintage bars and things like the JM bars, and you got the waffle backs and some different varieties and things there. Those are the more popular known, but as Mello has shown us there's a plethora. There used to be a lot more manufacturers of bullion back in the day. And so there's a lot of bars out there that may not look like much, but some people, the right people, actually will pay a pretty penny for them. Not that that's our main concern, but it's cool to know that you have something vintage. Um, and yeah, I like that. I'll see a lot of like the little 1 ounce bars from time to time. I'll pick some of those up. I still have some. Um, and I like to pick up the odd ones. I mean, if you're just buying silver and it makes no difference, I'd rather have some kind of cool original design on it rather than just another buffalo, right?
I do like the 10-ounce Buffalo bars, though. Let me ask you guys a question. So, Copperell Coins, what up? We got a heavy hitter in here now.
Oh, yeah.
Canadian Silver Seeker, what's up, eh? Question. I told you to get your mail yet, bro, because I just knew. We as stackers love vintage, and you just use the word odd. Why is it that me, as an old, odd vintage guy, can't appeal to the ladies in the world? Like, what's up with that? Why is it different
Oh,
from stacking? Everyone wants the old crap when they're stacking, but nobody wants the old man, the old oddball man.
well, I think it's getting there. I think I'll tell you what, and my neighbor just told me this, and this is not, public information, but I'll share it.
It is now.
So, like, I think it's somebody's brother or something. Either it's his brother or it's his wife's brother or something. But they've been together, him and his partner, whatever, girlfriend, fiance, whatever they've been, and 18 years. 18 years, almost 2 decades. And he just now proposed. And
You on that damn phone.
it sparks, well, at least I put it on silent.
That's good.
At
Baby
least
steps.
I did that. But almost 20 years and he just now proposed, which sparks the question, why? And I think it goes back to that thing. People are losing their stuff and they're starting to see that it's a lot easier to go through this life with somebody than without. So I think people are actually seeking out relationships more now after the virus, and seeing what a bad situation can look like when you go through it by yourself. My situation was the opposite. I went through it with somebody, and that was, yeah, eye opening enough. And so we're not together anymore. But yeah, I think people are losing it, and they need that companionship, even if it's not, maybe their first choice. So I think people are. I think you're not. If you're having a problem, you're not getting out there. You tell them you're a famous YouTuber and you have piles of gold, and I'm sure they'll be knocking down your door.
I'll tell them my name is Salivate Metal. Greetings, members, one and all. I'm a famous YouTuber. Maybe they'll buy that because I got to lie about that. I was mostly kidding. I will tell you back during the thing, I don't mind isolation. I've got a real close niche of people because I don't like a lot of people. People suck. People are also wonderful at times. But when the isolation was forced upon me, I resented it because I'm just stubborn that way. But, I've had relationships. I had one, that ended last October, and she was a wonderful girl, but she had so many problems. And when you work 7 days a week and you manage 20 people with their personalities and their problems, dude, it's too much. I go home. I can't deal with people and their BS. I cannot do it. I need to be alone. I can't do it. I'm not built for that anymore, honestly.
Yeah. So the pendulum swings, right? And so we swung real far in one direction. I think we all know what direction that was. And so I think we're starting to swing back, and we're starting to see more reason and common sense try to force its way in. And so I think we're going to meet in the middle. I mean, I want everyone to be happy. I don't care what you do. It's forced. I think the main problem everyone's starting to drive it down to is forcing your ideas onto somebody else, which astounds me because historically that's like the number one bad thing, no matter what you're talking about. Religion, ethics, just whatever. I mean, it's the reason we don't like cults, because they don't necessarily force it a lot of times, but they coerce into, complacency or agreement or whatever. And so we see these things, and I think everyone's starting to kind of get back to a better middle ground. Maybe we'll find some peace here for a decade or two. Fingers crossed. But I think people are starting to wake up. I know a lot of people are out there actually like giving it a real shot now, where probably 5-10 years ago the dating world was a mess. I know guys going through it like I wouldn't. No.
You talk about the pendulum and landing in the middle, and that's where it belongs, and it's never there for long. And I'll give you an example. So I'm 42. My brother's 53. God, he's old. But we were raised by the same man, which is my father, his dad, and mom. But before that, he had a different biological father, and he was a true deadbeat. He couldn't care less. Was never in the picture. And back then, nobody cared. Like, he didn't pay a dime in child support. Nobody cared. Nothing happened to him. He went to jail for like 5 seconds once. Seriously. So then the society said, okay, this isn't right, and the pendulum swung the other direction to the extreme, which is, oh, if you're the man, you're the scumbag by default, and we're slowly leaning away from that, but it shouldn't be like that. Then you have states that are pro mother, pro father. How about pro better parent? How about pro you're both 50-50 until one of you is proven to be a scumbag? Like, that pendulum in life with people, because they're emotional beings, never lands in the middle, which is truly where it should mostly lie in most things, I think.
Yeah.
People struggle with that.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I went on a date recently. I know, I did. It was amazing. But the funny thing was, the woman I was out with is having like child support kind of like issues, we'll just say. So we were talking about that, and then I'm talking about, some of the stuff I have going on, which is, the single dad stuff and all of this. And so it was very funny because the roles were completely reversed. Here's this woman complaining about like child support issues, right? From a perspective of this is some BS. And then there's me, single dad, complaining that like, oh, this single parent life is for the birds. And the roles were completely reversed. And I had to laugh because it was ironic, because 10 years ago, that never happened. You're right. And you're right. And the pendulum swings. And I don't know. I hope that we find a balance soon before everybody goes crazy and loses their stuff. But with all this bad information, and nobody realizes, not the general public really realizes what's in store for them if the dollar gets depegged as the world reserve currency. It's not going to be a pretty sight.
Oh, they have no idea. Like Zimbabwe, Venezuela, like that's going to be a thing. If you lose world reserve currency and you have the petrodollar, you're going to be okay. If you lose the petrodollar and you have world reserve currency, you're going to be okay. If you lose both, you are done. Done. And we are losing both.
Do you think it'll be like the fall of Rome done? I mean,
no, I think it'll be slower.
You think
I think it'll be slower because we have so much military power, and we push our weight around. I think.
Well, yeah, but how long can that last? If
Well, I don't know. I mean, we gave away half of our equipment in the pullout in the Middle East.
Yeah, so. Didn't we? We just left it there.
Yep, we just left it there, and we left Americans there too. Yep, we did. But we'll just tax the hell out of the people and just get more equipment. Except we better bring manufacturing back to America because no one's going to want to use our dollar. They're not going to take our dollar for trade. So if you look at OPEC cutting so many barrels, okay, and I talked about this in my last video. What did we decide they cut? I have it written down here.
3.66 million.
Yeah, so they just added 1 million to the 2.66 that they cut last year, and now they're adding another 1 million that they're cutting every day starting next month. So let's take a look at this. Fuel price is going to go through the roof. I mean, $8, $10, $12 a gallon. Where does it stop? And then you got the people that are supplying the oil that don't really want our dollars that much anyway anymore. So it's going to take more of them to buy something that's in limited supply. We're burnt, dude. We are burnt. This is going to get bad.
And do you think it's all the posturing that we've been doing? And because I can't remember if you touched on this in the video or not, but the thought crossed my mind, if you didn't, of we talk all this crap about electric vehicles and everybody's making them now. And we have Tesla and every car company has a version of electric. There's an electric Mustang, for Christ's sakes.
There is. That's gross.
Today, and it scared me because I didn't hear it coming. But aside from that, we do all this talking. Oh, we're going to do it. Oh, by 20 whatever. I think they're just basically calling our bluff. So they're like, okay, you don't need oil. We're cutting production. And then when gas is going to be so much more, they're going to go, oh, well, you need an EV. And so then they're kind of, I think, forcing the issue. Like if
No,
if you're really
I
going to
did.
be,
I did mention that because you told me to, and you were right. You pointed that out. But and you got guys who can't tell what kind of ice cream flavor they're eating that are pushing this agenda, and people like Gavin Newsom in California who say, "Oh yeah, we're ready to do this." Yet you can't even have people run their AC during the summer in the afternoon because your grid can't support it. Like all these idiots in charge that just perplexes me that they're in charge have all these grandiose ideas and they can't even build a grid to support it. Look what happened in Texas with the grid. Remember that? Abbott was pissed, and he should have been. I mean, we cannot support it. And to be honest with you, I want to drive my big jacked up diesel that stinks. That's what I want to drive. I want you to hear me coming and get the hell out of the way. I want to drive a big, loud, jacked up, stinky truck. And when I'm not driving that, I want to drive my beat to hell gas rig. I mean, I don't want to drive an electric car. If I want one, I'll buy one. I don't want one.
well, and there's all the fleets. We haven't even started switching over all the fleets. I mean, it's public knowledge now that Amazon is rolling out their electric vehicles for their deliveries. Um, so that's Rivian, and there might be other companies in there too, but Rivian, I think, is the main one, the purpose built option there. And that's just like package delivery. And I'm sure like UPS and FedEx are going to try something there when something hits the market that they can use for the big box trucks. But the electric semis have been hinted at multiple times over the last few decades. How much is that going to tax the infrastructure when every semi you see has to charge for 10 hours every 24 to try to drive somewhere? I mean, those.
Well, and here's something else that people don't talk about. EV being so much cleaner, sure, it is cleaner for what goes into the air. Now, this may have changed. I don't think it has. But take a Prius, right? Do you know what the recycling process, unless it's changed, for a Prius battery was?
Oh,
they bury it. They bury it in the ground.
You can't reclaim a lot of that.
So all that lead, which has more lead in it than a regular battery, that goes into the ground, what's not going into our air is going into our food. Cool. And our water. Awesome. So it's all a bunch of crap, dude. I mean, just like when they put ethanol in the gas, I don't know if they do that out there, but they put 10% ethanol in the fuel out here during the winter. That doesn't do anything except cost me more money because my vehicle burns gas. It doesn't burn ethanol. So I'm not using 10% less gas. I'm paying 10% more for fuel because that ethanol doesn't get used. That doesn't put me down the road. It's just like shower heads, right? Those low flow shower heads. It takes my fat ass twice as long to rinse off in a shower that doesn't feel half as good to get the soap off my body. I'm not saving water. I'm wasting twice the time.
I thought about that because my sink, the only way my sink, like I save water, is if you turn it on and off. If you're just constantly running water, it annoys me because I remember a day when you filled up your sink and it didn't take that long.
Right.
Right. And now it takes forever. Right. And like for a gallon, you grab like an empty milk jug, put it under your faucet and time it. It's like a minute, maybe a minute and a half for probably your average faucet to fill a gallon jug. It takes forever, and I get it. Conservate water.
You're using the same amount of product and wasting twice the time. And you're right, my sober journey. I was going to touch on that. EV does make a huge carbon footprint because of the mining. Absolutely.
Yeah. Joe Rogan talks about that. Not only the strip mining of lithium, but apparently there's like a humanitarian aspect of it to where they suspect that there's some kind of contract where, you know, they're supposed to be using heavy equipment and, you know, like it's modernized or what, you know, I'm missing the terminology there, but you know, whatever that is, like they're using equipment, they're getting it out of the ground and they're processing it, you know, using these tools. And what they're finding out in a lot of cases when they go to these mines, it's people in a pit, sometimes supposedly and allegedly, even children in these pits for hours a day digging lithium out of the ground for these mining operations. So there's and that goes into everything. Anything with a lithium ion battery, your cell phone, EVs, I mean everything just about has battery power now.
Sure.
So I mean it's a huge thing. And yeah, I mean I guess that's the one thing that I argue about. Like people are like, oh well, you got to like boycott those things, and it's almost hard to because we're such a global economy now. And I guess this is the sappy side of me. Um, I don't want to put out the Chinese person that's working at Foxconn to make the iPhone any more than I want to put out the guy down the street who's, I don't know, underemployed, having trouble finding a job, whatever the state may be there. Like, I'm not, yes, I'd like America to be doing better, but I don't necessarily want to do that at the detriment of these other things that have been built up. I mean, yes, nobody likes sending jobs across seas and all these things, but they've had a positive impact. Maybe not the way that we would like. Maybe they have humanitarian problems. Maybe they're not, the best facilities or the safest facilities. And that's a conversation to be had. But there's got to be a way. Like, I mean, I think we're global as far as economy, but we're still so very segregated because of sovereignty and things that I don't know what it'll take, but we need to just figure that out. Like you were saying earlier, we better start manufacturing stuff here. Dude, we're still going to have to buy all the chips from China or Taiwan or whoever. And then the only thing that's going to happen, okay, you want to make it there? Cool. Yeah, your chips went up by 4 times. They're 4 times the price if you want to make it there. And so then the cost of the things go up. The labor's already more expensive. Then all of a sudden we're paying $3,000 for an iPhone. I mean, where's the trade-off and what can we stomach?
Well, see, and that's what a lot of people don't realize is like, if you want to drive EV, drive EV. I don't care. If you want to eat vegan, be vegan. I don't care. Don't force me to do it. And you know what EV is? It's they market it as this whole. It's going to create more jobs. Okay, but it's going to cost jobs in the oil sector. It's going to create new jobs, but it's going to take away from these jobs. So it's not a net gain. Okay, number one. Number two, oh, the carbon footprint's better in ways, but worse in others. It's the same thing as Second Amendment control laws. It's a feel-good thing. That's all it is. Really, it accomplishes nothing. And that's what people seem to forget. They don't seem to understand that because the pendulum does not end up lying in the middle with common sense with people, for whatever reason. People are emotional-based creatures, and they don't think ahead, and they don't look into things, and they don't do their due diligence, and it's really, really unfortunate.
And for that reason, I think the general public is going to be fully on board with CBDCs.
100% agree.
And no one's going to argue with it. I've already heard people talking, and they're like, it's the same thing. Like, I don't get my paycheck. It's zeros in my bank account. The only time I see cash is if I withdraw it for something like, 90% of my money I never see. It's just digits on a screen. So what do I care if we have this CBDC digital currency? Like it's all the same to me. And they say that now, but 15 or 20 years from now, when it becomes some other much more oppressive thing than it even seems like it is now, then it'll be too late to try to change. But I don't think the public on a whole, like you're right, nobody does their well, and they keep you so busy and they entertain you. Like it's the reason I can't get into sports. I don't have time.
Everything is a distraction.
Space for that information. Like I know people that can rattle off stats and who's on what team and where they went to college and how long they've been playing and the index finger injury that they got 2 seasons ago that they're still not healed from. And like how do you know all that, but you don't have a good solid investment strategy, you don't, you know where your money's going every month, you haven't done like a budget and know what you're spending and where, like, it's crazy. I know people with gym memberships that they've had for decades. The money's just coming out of their account every month, and sometimes the gym doesn't even have a location near them anymore, and they've
right?
just never canceled.
Because they're too lazy.
Yeah,
And I'll give you an example. So I can say this because there's no chance of him seeing this because I'm lucky to get him to watch my channel. But I have a buddy of mine I've known for 30 years, and he uses me for my side gig, and up until recently he never had payment. And I said, listen, dude, stop sending me money through Cash App. I don't want the government to know. I don't want them to tax me. I said, stop telling me you can pay me when you can't. It's cash or you're bent, and get burnt. And he finally understands now where I'm coming from because he sent me some text a couple nights ago. And he was feeling really uneasy. He goes, oh my God, I see what's happening with the petrodollar. I see what's happening with cash going away. I see what's happening with the reserve currency. He goes, I don't know what to do. He goes, I'm 43 and I'm so far behind in my life. I said, you know what, brother? I said, at the end of the day, there's no crystal ball. I don't know, what the right thing to do is other than physical assets, and I don't even know how we're going to come out on that. And he really started to get it. And he's like, oh, I'm so distracted with this, that, and the other. I'm like, that's why you didn't see this. It's all done on purpose. They want us distracted. They don't want us paying attention, and they prey on people's laziness and their lack of desire to learn about what they don't know about. I told somebody once, I said, you need to figure out what it is you don't know about and learn about it. And they go, how do I know what I don't know? I go, you need to sit down and say, what is it I don't know about that I need to know about? Where am I lacking in my life? And that's where you need to learn. And people don't do that. And he's a perfect example of that. And he's like, dude, I'm scared. I'm behind the eight ball. I'm scared. I'm like, you know what, brother? I've got more than most people, and I'm scared because I didn't start doing anything for myself until I was 28 years old. And I'm 42.
About 30 for me too.
I'm scared.
When I really got my stuff together, and now I just turned 40, and I'm in a better place. Like you said, I'm in a better place than most people. I have some real estate. I have some metals. I have a very small stock portfolio now that everything tanked. My 401k took a big hit. But like you were saying earlier, I take responsibility for that because I chose my elections. Granted, they're limited to the ones available, but I chose the elections. And on like one of them, just specifically, I lost thousands in the last like year and a half, 2 years. But that's also because my idiot self didn't go on there and change it when I knew the market was going down. I was, again, lazy. And I just didn't change it. And so for that reason, I lost a couple thousand. We'll call it the employer elections, which, if I'm not mistaken, employer elections to 401k, like their contribution, I want to say that's some kind of write-off for them. It's something. They get some kind of credit for it. When they're giving
me right off of the employer, I don't know, but that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a reason that they do it. And because I've actually had employers in the past go like, hey, you guys need to sign up for it. Sign up for at least there was like a meeting note where they're like, you got to sign up for the money. Like you put in a little, get your free money, da, da, da. They were driving people to do it. And I got to say that that's probably not out of the goodness of their heart. I'm sure it's kind of right off for them. They don't want to just give away money, right? So I'm sure they get some kind of credit.
I was so stupid when I was 18 years old, right? And I was able to get credit cards. Dude, I can't even make this up, okay? I was like, these banks are so nice to give me credit and loan me money out of the goodness of their heart. I didn't understand interest. I didn't understand any of that. I really thought, I was like, that is so nice of them. What an idiot. So you're probably right. They're probably not doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. There must be something, something to be gained on their end. And that's fine, but
I remember working at a gas station when I was like 18. Yeah, I must have been 18. And we had the old carbon copy credit card reader. That's how we did it. And I remember that and thinking like when they explained it to me, well, sometimes people don't actually pay you. And I'm like, huh? What? And they're like, yeah, you got to put the card on here, you put the thing on there. Basically, you write it all out. Like you had to write it out like a receipt, like what you were charging them, and it physically imprinted the card onto that, and then you had their name, their credit card number, and all the information, and then that served as your receipt. Now, I'm sure. Again, I don't know the back end, but you would send it to someone or call them up or give them a monthly statement, and say, you owe us this or that or whatever. But and I was like, wait, like, so they don't have to spend money? And they're like, well, like they do, but then they get a bill from them, and it's like writing a check. It's like another form of a check is how it was explained to me, and I'm like, okay, like it just strange, And now look where we're at. Like that's the thing. You got to look at the first thing, and then you got to look at sometime later what the thing has turned into. Just like cars. The first car was diesel. And there was an argument between the two inventors, the one of the gasoline engine and the one of the diesel engine, which was better. And we see who won out. We won't get into all the happenings behind the scenes, but yes, like we see who won out. And then the same thing with electricity. You had AC and DC current, and there were some positives to the one and positives to the other, and it was just this thing of like, well, which one's going to be it? And then it goes. And the same thing happens with just about every technology that comes, except nowadays it happens faster, and they don't seem quite as important. Maybe the electric car one, is probably the biggest debate, but it's like, what was it when Blu-ray came out?
I was going to say HD DVD versus Blu-ray.
Yeah, that was like a huge thing, and Microsoft poured so much money, so much into HD DVD, and honestly, HD DVD was better, but just more things got on the Blu-ray side, and
Johnny,
it just became this thing.
Johnny says Betamax versus VHS. I remember that too. I'm old.
Yeah,
I was going to bring that up too. How about this? Carburetor versus fuel injection. Most people don't know this. You can have a carburetor get 80 to 100 miles a gallon if it's tuned right for certain applications. You can never do that with fuel injection.
And you could get them rebuilt. Like the old term tune-up was tuning the carburetor on the car. Like people are like, now they go into a mechanic shop and they're like, I need a tune-up. No, you don't. You need your spark plugs changed. Maybe. And that's only if you've rolled 100,000 miles anymore. Like you don't need a tune-up. You need an oil change.
It's never been about the environment. It's never been about what's better for the people. It's always about money. If we can get you in a car that uses more fuel, we'll make more money.
Yeah, it's
always about money.
That's why they don't like stackers.
Because
we figured it out that there's something out there that's just worth money, and we can buy it for, I think we all agree, for much less than they're actually worth. And we've seen the forest through the trees, and so we stacked this, and we said, your system's rigged, your dollars are not worth the money, the paper they're printed on, and so. We've talked about this before, the social stigma around stackers. Some people are waking up. People are waking up. I had a conversation the other day with someone, and he's like, yeah. So some guy told me I need to be buying gold and silver. It's my neighbor, and he's a postman, and he was delivering packages. And I guess one of his people felt the need to talk about it and was telling him, he's like, yeah, this guy keeps telling me I need to buy gold and silver. I'm like, yeah, you probably should. Like, it's a good idea. I didn't want to say too much, but.
So my same buddy I told you about, he goes, why gold and silver? He goes, if the dollar's going to go away. I said, first of all, it's probably going to take 10 years. It's not going to go away tomorrow. I said, second of all, he goes, yeah, but with inflation, he goes, well, if it's valued in dollars, I said, dude, but you're not understanding that you get more dollars when the price of metal goes up to buy more things with those dollars. And he goes, okay, so I get that, but what about when cash goes away? I go, well, you can trade. There will always be people that value metal. I said, and if you're holding cash and cash goes away, you're screwed. If you're holding metal and cash goes away, you're in trouble. If you're holding real estate and cash, anything you hold when cash goes away is going to take a hit. And I had to explain that to him. There is no perfect answer, but I'm telling you, man, when it all comes down, physical assets is where I want to be. It's really where I want to be.
Did you know? And here's just one example of that. And I don't know how we'd get there in terms of something like metal, but it's just an example. In Ohio, I can go to the title bureau with another person and we can swap car for car, title for title.
Mm-hmm.
This one's yours now. This one's mine now. It is not a sale. It's a transfer, and no money changes hands. Nobody's taxed on the transaction. I mean, you got to get tags, and figure that whole thing out. But you can still swap assets, which I know calling a car an asset's lackluster example at best, but you can do that still. So, and things like houses, properties, you could still, I'm sure, in terms of titles, do something like that there as well, where I'm going to trade you these 2 pieces of land or property for your 1 piece, and we agree that they're the same value or similar, and we're going to swap. There may be some taxes or something you would have to pay, or some fees, and the titles are a little more specific on those, but some of that still exists. Now, in terms of metals, I've tried to think about this. I haven't given it like too much thought, but there's something will come up. Something will come up to where we want, like, I'll trade metals for something. I don't know what that thing will be yet. Maybe services, maybe tangible things. Like, I don't want your cash. I want your car, and it'll be a little more accepted to kind of like off-market barter with them or something. Because we're not gonna want cash. Once things get a little further down the road, people are going to be clamoring to turn their digital digits into anything physical. And I mean, heck, the same thing can be said about Pokemon cards and a bunch of other things. Long-term hold, sometimes those things have a lot less likelihood of working out. But I know people that have Magic the Gathering card collections that just held over a long period of time, and at least by the current market, are doing really well for themselves. They have a collection that's worth probably more than my medals. I mean, it just depends, but physical things that are in demand are always going to have a market. It's just figuring out what you want for them.
So Luigi Stack says we are in a debt-based economy, 100%. If we don't, most people don't realize this. Every time you swipe your credit card, you create currency. And if debt stopped tomorrow, which is why they're always raising the debt ceiling, the dollar would cease to exist. You should check your phone, though. I did send you a text.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm fat, dude. I got to eat dinner soon. But I mean, and people don't realize that, like, it is a debt-based, fiat, faith-based Ponzi scheme. That's what it is. It's a debt note. It's not money. I mean, we use it as money, but it's not money.
No,
it's a medium of exchange.
It doesn't work anywhere else. Not really the way it should. And the only reason why it works currently anywhere else is because we're the world reserve currency. Once we get knocked down a peg, watch what international travel does. Like, people will be like, "Oh no, I don't really want to go," or they're going to say, "I have to go on this trip for work, and I'm not happy about it," because you're going to be at such a disadvantage with the exchange rates going forward. It's going to be unprecedented in terms of people who actually do travel the world and kind of see that. It's about to get real expensive.
Well, you said you went to Mexico not too long, a few years back, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you said it was amazing.
it was because I
Booze is
took
in the house.
I took like $1,000 US, and I was there for 3 weeks, and I spent money like it was going out of style. We went to all the best restaurants. I bought everything, and I didn't even come close to spending all the money. I still brought some back. Some of it's now in my coin collection. Granted, they're modern coins, but I got a bunch of Mexican coinage, some notes. I was spending money at the airport on the way back just to get rid of it, buying shirts and souvenirs and candy for the kids and spending it anywhere I could because I still had a bunch of money left when it came time to come home. And we went out to clubs. We were buying drinks like steakhouses and all these fine dining restaurants that we could book, and the exchange rate was just crazy. And I talked to somebody down there, and he showed me his paycheck stub, which was like this whole big thing. We weren't supposed to talk about money, but I didn't talk about money. He showed me his pay stub, and it was like it. And again, don't quote me, but it was like not much. Like I brought for 3 weeks, like 6 times the amount that his weekly paycheck was.
Yep.
Or something ridiculous like that. Like his paycheck was like 2,000 something pesos, and that was my pocket change that I left the hotel with every day. Like it was just crazy. And he's happy. He was happy about that. Like he's like, no, this is a great job, and I make good money, and da da da. And like, I guess for there, yeah, that's true. But think about them trying to come to the U.S. How much extra money they have to save up to try to make that trip.
And that's why a lot of Mexican people that I work with, even they come here, they make money and they send a portion of their paychecks back home because it's worth so much more down there. They can buy more of their currency, for what they make here. Did you know? And this is really hard to verify. I've tried many times. The best I can figure is that when hyperinflation was at its highest in Venezuela, and we're talking when they took wheelbarrows and trash bags full of currency, literally, to buy groceries.
Yeah.
The best I can tell is somewhere between, and it's really hard to find this, and if anyone finds information on this, please send it my way, because I'd be curious to see it. I've heard as low as 3 and as high as 10. But 3 to 10 ounces of silver would get you a nice place, paid for every month, pay your utilities, and feed you. Isn't that insane to think about?
Well, what they said back in the day, a gold coin was like 1 month's salary, like way back in the day, like Roman times. Was like, I think it was like the soldiers would get like, the equivalent of about like whatever the standard gold coin was at the time was like their salary a month, and it was good enough. And then if you look at it, it's not still quite equivalent, but when you assume that their coins probably weren't anywhere near like an ounce, and you factor that in, yeah, I mean, it's a substantial amount of money today, enough to like not be considered poor. I mean, now we're a little out of whack from that because of inflation, but I think the fact still remains. You could go buy a nice suit for a gold coin way back in the 1900s, and nowadays a gold coin can still go get you a really nice tailored suit. I mean,
yep, and probably a pair of shoes.
Yeah, it's held its value, and that's why the people that know like metals, and why we're in such trouble, because we've decoupled from gold standard.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat. Johnny brought up the dinar, and silver and cigars was all over that. And there's a reason.
Speaking of dinar, you and your dinner, we should wrap this up soon. But
Pat, you are correct.
What do you think? How long do you think we have before we really start seeing the effects of
Oh
the
shit,
things
dude.
that are already rumbling. Like I'm saying, like 6 to 8 months, and it will be a completely different climate than
What are
what
you
we see now.
specifically asking? Are you asking about
Like,
prices, or are you asking about when the dollar's
yeah,
done?
in the market, like with all of the crap that's going on, because there's so much. Like, when do you think we will start to see the breakout of the market as far as precious metals and other commodities versus like the dollar? How long do you think we
Oh,
have?
dude, that's so hard to say because here's the deal. So I've been stacking a long friggin' time, like 2008, 2009, and every time every year it's going to be this year and that year. In 2008, it was going to happen, and you know, it was going to happen in 2020 during the thing, and I think things are lining up a whole lot more now. I think we have more things at play than we've ever had at once before.
Right.
But they're so good at two things, man. They're so good at kicking the can, number one, and they're so good at playing on people's ignorance because people have no idea what's going on. And as long as they keep going on, doing what they're doing, living their lives the way they're living their lives in the dark, it will continue. I think we're gonna I think we're gonna see prices go up a lot, especially in fuel, which is gonna drive the price up on everything because it has to
Mm.
be delivered to us. But I think this is gonna go on for a long time. I do. I think inflation is gonna get higher and higher and higher, and the cost of living. But I think this whole thing's gonna continue on business as usual for a long time. Honestly, just more expensive.
I think I really do. I think 6 to 8 months we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised for silver to be in the $30 to $35 range. Who knows where
I
gold
agree with
is?
that. I agree with that.
But I think we got to watch out for the next big conflict because whenever we're having large scale troubles, it seems like there's always a conflict that comes up. And as much as I hate the political and I really don't follow a whole lot of it, I laugh at a lot of it currently, but I don't really follow it too much. I just like to kind of do what I do. But at this point, you're at a disadvantage if you don't at least peek and see what's going on, like you were talking about earlier with China trying to blockade off Taiwan. Like, I had no idea. I didn't see that yet. And so, I mean, it's concerning, but it's been concerning for the last couple of years. It's just how long
Exactly.
are we going to play cat and mouse before this really turns into something? And that's the problem. When it turns into something, then, once again, for like the 12th time in the last 20 years, we're in unprecedented times. And
Yep.
who knows, all bets are off as far as the market and what's going to happen.
I'll be honest with you. I think it all failed in 2020. I think the event was just to buy more time. It's just a matter of when are the wheels going to completely fall
Oh,
off the bus.
we've been in a fake market since I think we got off the gold standard. If you
Oh,
look,
dude.
every few decades, it goes crazy, and they're like, "Oh, it was the .com bubble. Oh, it was, this. Oh, it was, September 11th messed up the economy. Oh, it was the housing crash." Like, no, those are the ripples
Yeah, I
still
agree. I
of
agree.
getting off the gold standard. And every time the market tries to do its own thing, right? Then all of a sudden it comes crashing down, and they're like, "Oh, it's this reason or it's that reason," and it's not really. It's because past a certain point, it gets to this level where it's completely unrealistic, and that's the problem.
Well,
People
and
will
what
take
what
it there.
what burns me, dude, is when I hear people say, "Oh, the gold was pegged to the dollar." No, the dollar was pegged to gold. Number one, and the gold standard didn't work. No, the gold standard worked perfectly. It's that we didn't follow it correctly. We broke the rules. That's why it failed. The gold
Oh
standard
yeah.
didn't fail. We failed the gold standard.
Well,
And
and
and then you got 45 saying, "Oh, uh, best economy ever. Look at the stock market. The stock market hasn't been tied to the economy for years. The stock market is tied to inflated steroidal amounts of cash pumped into certain markets. It has zero reflection of the real economy, and people
well,
don't understand that.
and look at people like Ron Paul, right, trying to audit the Fed.
Yep. I
They
love
would
Ron Paul.
not let him do it. And then there was that whole thing, and again, my mind sucks. Don't hate on me for it. I can't keep all of this information straight, but it was maybe it was the 70s. Sometime they wanted to audit Fort Knox,
I remember
right?
that.
And it was like this big deal. But they let in like a whole bunch of, you know, people, like a handful of these supposed people, and they just came out. Yep. It's all there. Like what? Like no, you can't go. Because think about it. You walk me, you, or anybody else into a room filled with gold bars that are stacked up. And we're going, yeah, there's a ton of gold in there. Yeah, but was that a fraction of what should have been there? It's not a real count. You went and showed it off to like 6 people, no cameras, no proof. And that was back then people were worried.
Yep.
And that was the general public and the politicians and people that pushed that. And we never really got a good answer on that, whether or not the gold was all there. And I think it's been gone for a long time.
Oh, I agree, but here's the problem. I'm not talking people like Johnny and the people in this community, but I have talked to a lot of people that are 60, 70 years old, 50, even 50-year-olds ought to know this shit by now, but they don't. A lot of them, like, I'm 42 and I know more about the gold and silver standard than they'll ever know. And most people don't even realize that are like, in their later years that we were ever on a gold standard or that gold and silver are money.
They don't know that the change was silver. They don't know. People have no idea.
I do. Dude, Silver and Cigars is right. I was going to mention that. I do have to show my dong. I got to do a video doing that. I forgot about that, dude. I guess, this whole friggin' vacation that I officially started today is going to be making friggin' videos. I got mail calls to do. I got shout out videos for Silver Cigars. I got to do a Savage shout out. I got a live stream. I got a live stream on my channel Thursday. Y'all better be there. It's going to be epic. God, dude, this is going to be just a friggin' YouTube vacation. I'm going to be working for free on my vacation. Yeah, boy.
Well, the good news is the more videos and things that you do, the bigger the channel gets, and maybe eventually one day you can call this your job and you'll officially be a YouTuber.
I'm going to tell all y'all right now, if that happens, I'm packing my ass up from Oregon. I'm moving to Idaho, to the motherland. That's where I want to be. And I'll be making videos all day long. So to blow me up, because that's what I want. I don't want to go to work anymore, man. I don't want to live here. What up, AG's in the house?
All right. Well, we should cut it off, though. You got to get some dinner, and I got about half an hour.
Nothing to do with AG joining. I'm fat, and I got food hitting my door in a minute because I'm lazy, and I did not practice what I preach, and I did order DoorDash, but I used my Capital One shopping thing and got $10 off the discount code, baby.
Do you see? Oh, hey, real quick before we end. McDonald's in my town made a change to the new format. Number one, when you pull up to the drive-thru, and I don't go often, but I have kids, so you got to forgive me. Sometimes it's unavoidable. But
lies.
When you go to the drive-thru now, they don't say like, "Hi, how are you? We have this on spec." They don't. There's no spiel anymore. It's, will you be using your mobile app? There's like a mobile app, like you can order ahead, I guess, and
they were doing that here too until like a week ago, and it stopped.
No, it's a thing out here. They're running it. And so
the other day.
They redid the inside, and let me give you a sneak peek of what the inside looks like. The only spot that's open is a spot with 2 cash registers. It's maybe 7-8 feet wide, like the counter space with the 2 registers. And then there's a window where they put the food for like DoorDash and things. That's it. The rest of it's a wall. You can't see anything behind the counter anymore. You can't see the people making your food. You can't see whether they're holding gloves. You can't see whether or not they dropped that on the floor and then gave it to you. I mean, that's on the far side of things, but it's very concerning to me that we're going back to this not secretive, but impersonal way of doing things.
Oh, yeah.
Like pretty soon, 10, 15 years from now, there won't even be a person or at the cash register. It'll just be a kiosk, and a little door will open, and your food will slide out, and there'll never be anyone to even complain at.
You know,
You know, like,
I heard this from some sources, and I don't know how true it is. It's probably true, and I don't want to know, but it makes you wonder what they're doing to your food, because someone said, go to a meat processing plant. You will never see windows in that place. And it's because they don't want you to see what they're doing to the food. Kind of concerning.
don't remind me about all the stuff I eat. I love hot dogs. I know they're
Me too, and I think it's anus and hooves, but it sure tastes good.
yeah. And you know what? And the beef hot dogs, some of them are okay, but more often than not, I get like the all beef hot dog, and I don't like it.
I don't mind it. But, take bacon. It's delicious, but it's stomach lining. It's disgusting.
Well, everyone's going to hate me for this. Years ago, I switched to turkey bacon. Now, I still eat regular bacon occasionally, especially with the prices the way they are right now, though. Forget it. I do turkey bacon. I like turkey bacon. If you cook it right and you cook it crispy, and
it's not bad.
I know that's unpopular opinion, but I actually do like it. It's theoretically it's maybe better for you over the long haul. So I do that, but I do other things like cheese in my house. We don't do like Kraft singles or any of that stuff. We buy real cheese. We do not do fake cheese in this house.
See,
Like,
I'm a huge proponent of saturated fat. That's why bacon doesn't bother me. It is high in calories, but like I think trans fat is terrible. Seed oils are terrible. But saturated fat, I mean, that's what we were supposed to eat. So I ain't scared of bacon. I mean, it is stomach lining. It's kind of gross, but it tastes so good. But I'll eat the turkey bacon too. I'll rock it. It doesn't taste good, but it ain't bad. And
it's
man,
not
when the Dollar Tree used to sell it for $1 for 12 ounces, I used to buy the hell out of it. I'm like, hell yeah! It's mostly bacon for a whole lot cheaper.
Johnny T says he heard turkey bacon causes baldness. Just saying.
Is that why we're bald, dude? Because I'm damn it.
I've been doing turkey bacon for like I think about a decade.
I thought it was the kids at work that stressed me out, made me want to jump off a bridge.
No, that was what did me in. I had kids. When I first had kids, I had hair, and then it just all disappeared. Like it's stress for sure. That's what got me.
Yeah, kids will do that. All right. I think my food is here, but dude, it was fun, and we had a great crowd as usual. Y'all rock.
Yes, thank everyone for hanging out. I appreciate it. I have a video coming out Wednesday evening on goldbacks. It's a short one, but informative. Gonna ask some questions, poll the audience, see what they think on them. But going over the goldbacks and thoughts on them.
I hear my knees making noise.
And Constitutional's off for like a week from work, so he'll be just pumping out videos and doing live streams every day.
See how he's committing me right here? Jesus.
No, you do that to yourself. All right, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate everyone hanging out, and we will see you around next time. Take it easy.
Keep stacking. You knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah.